we know that your mind and your body are extremely interconnected, that the thoughts that you think, the things that you say out loud that come from your mind can actually manifest in your body in a physical way. So, the fight and flight response is what I want to talk about next. I want to talk about and have you think about what your mind is feeding yourself about birth. Are you feeding yourself fear? Do you have fear around childbirth? So, the point of bringing up the fight and flight response is to show you how this fear can create a physical manifestation in your body that can negatively impact your labor. So, such as fear, or even possibly stalling your labor. So, the fight and flight response, I'm sure you're familiar with this phrase. What happens when you have fear in your physical body, you're actually going to have adrenaline and cortisol. Those hormones are going to spike. And when you have heightened adrenaline and cortisol, you're going to become tense. Have you ever gone through a traffic light and someone turned in front of you really quickly and you just immediately get super tense? That's that spike of adrenaline and cortisol. And your body will physically become tensed in that situation. So just like any other animal, for example, if you feel scared, specifically in labor, you are going to feel tense and you are more likely to feel pain in labor. This is also known, as I mentioned, to stall your labor, which is why it's super, super important to feel safe in the environment you're in when you're giving birth. Something else to mention about the hormonal aspect of your body when thinking about fight or flight response is that adrenaline and cortisol actually restrict oxygen to the uterus and divert oxygen and blood to the larger muscle groups, allowing you to flee to safety. So when you all of a sudden have something fearful, you're feeling uncomfortable in labor, your body is actually going to divert energy and blood and oxygen to other areas of your body outside of your uterus. And that is why your labor can actually stall if you're feeling fearful or scared. I've heard of countless stories actually of moms in labor at home, and they're in their own environment where they feel safe and comfortable, and their labor progresses very nicely. And they go to the hospital, and on the way, even potentially to the hospital in the car, things start to slow down. Maybe the contractions start to space out or become less intense. And that is likely because naturally we are starting to feel less safe. When you're not in your own comfortable environment, it's going to create a hormonal response inside of you. So something to think about when you're thinking about where you want to give birth is, am I going to feel safe in this environment? Is this going to be an environment that is going to help me um, not want to have, or have, not even want to have, that natural fight or flight response? So, one thing I want to mention here too, this is actually a scripture I cling on to while I'm pregnant because it is so beneficial since there's so much fear around childbirth and even just things in pregnancy. I think it's a time when a lot of women will feel fearful for different things, is to remember the truth about fear and where that's coming from. So it says in Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self discipline. So really just cling on to that as you think through, those thoughts that are coming to your mind. Think through that if you are starting to feel nervous or scared about anything in your pregnancy. but most importantly, really think about where you want to give birth, and make sure that's a place where you're not going to kick in that fight and flight response.